Okay. So today, I'm gonna try doing viewer track reviews, but this time we're going to be using a website called Demo Drop, which I found out about recently. I have to make an account. I guess I qualify as a radio show. I guess I'll just go other. Except it's not letting me select one. Okay, there we go. I guess I'll sign up with Twitter. Give me 1 second. Just sign up using email address. That's fine. Okay. Okay. All right, let's see if that ended up in spam. Where is it? Kinda need it to use this website. And yes, if you have Easy Drummer, you can use Easy Drummer kits in Superior Drummer. That's not my track name. That's my account name with ImageLine. Have I sleep well? I did sleep well. I slept like a good. Here we go. Sweet. All right, I've got a demo drop thing. This ought to be interesting. Drop page. All right, so predictably, this is the drop page. Yeah. What was the project name? I have that viewer track project that I was using. It's where you can drop demos. It's I don't know. I mean, I don't know you know yet, but it's probably going to be more efficient than A, emailing it to me, or B, using yes, this will be easier. Or B, using Google Drive. Review template, derp. Okay. And those tracks are still in there. All right, well. Neat. All right, so I was gonna change my profile picture. Yeah. There we go. Let's go to my drop page. Let's see what that even looks like. Well, this seems to be pretty straightforward. Boop. You're going to send MP3s. Actually, I'll make a custom message. Send MP3 to. There. Every so often, I'll spam the chat with that. Takes 2 years to upload. You have to have dedication. I'm gonna turn on Skype for a second. Not because I'm actually going to talk to anybody, but because I need to ensure. Yeah, I'm sure. Confirming a lesson I have with a guy later. It's not a label, just a service by which people can send me tracks. Now let's see, where will I? Okay, we have notifications. I guess we have tracks. Cool. All right, so let's see. What happens when I take one? I can just play it directly from the site. That's interesting. Oh dear. Okay, so I liked a lot about what was going on in this track. I certainly enjoyed the main drop. One thing that I know is difficult is when you're trying to blend realistic percussion elements with electronic percussion elements, which you obviously tried to do during the rises up to the drops and that kind of thing. It's just that but your particular attempt to make that work, I feel, was just a little clunky. The drums didn't quite. Let's post this back. There we go. The drums, like, they felt very bland when they're doing the toms and the cymbals and whatever. And then they would fade out, and then the real drums would come in, and then it would just be like, well, okay, but I don't know. Usually when I do that kind of thing, I try to blend the electronic stuff with the realistic stuff from the beginning. I might fade the electronic stuff so that it doesn't hit as hard, but it's still there, so that when the switch happens, it's not as jarring. It's kind of a delicate balance, but that's something that you should, like, that part you should kind of focus on. The decision to go to drum and bass in the second half, well, cool. I mean, I like that in some songs. I don't know that the material in the song worked very well like that. And I've done stuff like that before. I've done stuff like that before where I'll do like a drum step track, I'll do halftime and a double time. The thing is, though, is that the kind of material and the rhythms that work in halftime generally don't in full time or double time. It's I mean, I had the assumption that it would, and I didn't, and then I ended up having to make like an entirely like a separate drop to make the halftime, the double time part work. Obviously, there are songs where they do work, where the double time part works with the halftime, but I have a sneaking suspicion that the halftime part might have been written first in that regard. Other than that, I like the sound design. I like the writing. The organ sound, while good for, like, you know, you have like a melodic component and that's neat. It lacked a lot of high frequency definition, and so whenever it came in and other stuff got out, sort of the track got real dull. And I mean that in like the bright dark sense, in the sense that it was no longer very bright and thus it was very dull. The progression itself was very, you know, predictable. It's just, you know, the whole 1, 2, 3, 4 minor, the Matrix progression kind of thing, which is fine. I mean, it worked out very well. Mixing wise, the drums could have hit a little harder. It's probably always going to be my my answer to that, to just about everyone who ever sends me music. But other than that, good job, Mr. Casper Woods. That was the name of that. Was the person who said that track. Cool. So this demo drop thing works. Nice. I enjoy it. All right, next I'm going to play a SeamlessR demo thingy with absolutely no one's name on it. Kind of reminded me of Crash Bandicoot a little. Do 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 do. All right, so the thing that struck me the weirdest about the song was the bandpass animations you used for the main bass during the bassy bits. This automation with that kind is a little hard sometimes, just because you make nice gridded shapes, and they look like they're all nice and in time or whatever, but they don't really sound like they're in time. And a lot of that is because if you go too high with bandpass automation, you get into purely higher frequency sounds, and that sounds kind of weird when you're doing that together. And the kind of curves that you have to like have to make it still sound like it's in time are not just straight lines and that kind of deal. So you got to kind of experiment with the tension of your automation, in whatever format that you're using, either for real, like automation clips or LFOs of some kind, or internal stuff, or massives, performer, that kind of thing. You gotta sort of also like the range. I really don't recommend going that high with bandpass automation. Speaking of high, a lot of that don't really. It seemed like you played the basses and pretty much everything like an octave higher than it could have been. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't feel very low or bassy. Also, you should probably have a separate sub. Bring back that. Post spam. There we go. So, what else? Like, there wasn't really a recurring structure to this. I'm pretty sure you knew that, and like the mixing was weird. I'm pretty sure you know that. Like when the synths and the things come in, they kind of overpower everything. Oh boy. Pardon me. That Mountain Dew hasn't kicked in yet. I mean, that's like it's average standard mixing problem. I would look into sidechaining a little harder if you're not doing any sidechaining at all. If you are sidechaining, that sidechain a little harder on the melodic elements like that. So that works out. So, is there a way I could show kind of? I guess I could just do like an animation clip right here. Animation clip. So, I have a feeling that the kind of automation clip you tried to do was like this kind of stuff. You're just like, yeah, and then you do really fast ones, and then it's quite as fast ones, and then you're right. It's like this is like very straight, like not unchanging kind of automation. And with band passes, because this is very linear, but the thing about band passes is that the transition between the low frequency like okay area and the high frequency sort of pain area is not linear. It's weighted more heavily to the bottom. This kind of automation can work if you kind of just stay a little bit lower. This is generally like this is what I do with band passes. I'll go up every once in a while, but I won't go all the way up. And so it'll kind of stay down here like this. Other things you can do are to sort of increase tension on the beginning, because if you think about it, the beats hit here. Like this is where the beats begin. But the peak of the automation is here. So like we can try and like lean it, one way or the other to be actually closer to the beat. Also, sometimes, especially if you're using side chaining, the fact that the beat is there kind of helps what your actual automation is trying to do and that kind of thing. Also, this might feel like a good idea sometimes, but especially if you're going really fast, it doesn't always work. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it can make like a nice statement, but all the time, not so much. That's it's based on my own experience. Okay, staying low make it sound weak. Just because it's low doesn't necessarily mean that you want to get rid of all your high frequency information. Depending on how you're doing your bandpass, like most of the time when I'm doing a bandpass, I'm using the EQ to do my filtering, and the reason for that is because when you do just a regular bandpass on the thing like this, what ends up happening is that see how I'm going all the way up and you're still seeing low frequency information, and even when I'm going all the way down, you're still seeing high frequency information. That's because the default setting for any of the filter types in the EQ is in the order is 2. And if I go to steep or gentle, any of these directions, it'll actually cut out everything from higher or low. See, now there's nothing there, and now there's nothing there. That's what that means. As for a filter, this means that like even though I'm going up here, it emphasizes the low end, but there's still high end. And if I were to distort this, put distortion after the bandpass, which is something that you can do, it would preserve some of the high frequency information, some of the low frequency information, but it would still emphasize the mid range, which is what you're trying to do, and you would end up having a reasonable business. All right, let's play on the track. I think I played that one of these before. Someone appears to have uploaded the same track twice. Let's do another drum and bass track. So that was pretty great. I enjoyed a lot of that. The two things that stuck out to me the most are in the intro, kind of like the high frequency profile of everything felt a little weird, and like the decisions behind that made sense when the drop came, because the drop's profile was all very, it matched it. It made sense that the drop had that kind of like curve applied to it. It kind of feels like the whole thing was kind of EQ'd together very, very harshly. Like you did a lot of the mixing just by EQing the master really, really intensely, as opposed to EQing individual elements to make them fit better together. Either that, or you like the elements that are in the intro were also present in the drop, and so you EQ'd them to fit for that, but then not so much by themselves, and so they kind of felt a little weird. Also, when the first in the intro, when the not bass elements were playing, and then the one bass element would come in, it felt a little weird that one had sub in the intro. And this is just an opinion. You don't actually need to change anything about that. Like, I feel like it would be more intro-y if there wasn't any sub in that bass when it hit in the intro, so that when it does hit in the drop, it feels more impactful. You know, that kind of thing. Yeah. It's not so much using the same Maximus in the intro and the drop is not much a bad deal. Like I do that a lot, and even when I don't, it's the same settings on the second Maximus. It's just like the intro feel like, I mean, overall the mix does feel very high heavy, like very top heavy. So like I would check some references, and I mean, a very specific reference would be pretty much every AU5 track, because you did have a lot of very similar sound design in there, and I liked it a lot. So, and you used it pretty similarly, like in the same obvious influence. So, like that's a good job on your part, because it was very good. Like this could be a very nice track, like very easily. So you've done good work. Good job. Let's find another one. Actually, hold on a second. I want to see what happens if. So wait. It's only showing me unviewed tracks, because now that one's not in the list. So, okay, where can I... played. Okay, so I have a playlist. But there's only one that shows up. I listened to like 4 or 3. So if I do this... Yeah, cool. So I have supported Mr. Go. That's weird. They didn't show up that way. Whatever. Okay. Catbox. The World Beyond. Whip. 2 minutes of silence at the end. And if we skip ahead far enough. Same thing again. Okay, so first thing, have a separate sub. Have some bass in there. That's the consistent and good. As opposed to the wavy, phase cancelly bass of a Reese sound. This is very, you know, pretty and melodic and 7 Lionsy and that kind of thing. It's very nice. The danger with this kind of stuff, though, is that it's very easy to get to be top heavy in the high frequencies, just because literally everything you're doing has some kind of high frequency tinge to it. You gotta be real careful about that, because because you know, higher frequencies don't require as much level to sound as loud as lower frequencies. This means you can pile on a whole bunch and it won't really be dangerous, but it'll still, if you do too much, it'll lean one way or the other and it won't really feel right. In this particular track, I really did feel like the low mids could use some beefiness, because it felt like overall there wasn't really a lot of forceful definition in this track. This is also sort of the result of the kick and the snare itself feeling kind of weak. But that might also be my opinion based on the fact that I listen to harder things, not really this kind of prettiness, that sort of deal. The prettiness was very pretty. I felt the lead didn't really mesh very well with mix-wise with the progression elements in the main drop. It felt way too loud. It felt pretty much louder than everything else. And I am a proponent of saying that the drums should be louder than everything else on the track, just so that you know, the beat is there. And the thing with the separate sub, yeah, because you know your bass is not always clean at the low end, and you need to have bass definition for these things. Pretty much no one has done that yet in all these tracks that I'm listening to. One day, I'm sure we'll have oh boy, Moomba metal. My interest is peaked. This is at like -8 dB. This is so quiet. Look how quiet it is. I like the concept. Okay, well, except for the render error, that was interesting. Couldn't really comment on a mix as I couldn't really hear it, but it felt okay. The arrangement was nice, and the sort of the merging of genres worked pretty well. So good job on that. Just can't really say much more about that. So yes. All right, hold on. I already had one I wanted to look at. It was this. That, by the way, is what a separate sub looks like. So the drums are kind of weird, but it's not necessarily a bad kind of weird. Like the snare is definitely a very kind of like old school style snare where there's not a lot of fundamental tone. There's not a lot of like you know, low frequency snap and that kind of thing, which is a very modern deal, but it's got that, you know, woody sort of older drum and bass sort of feel. This whole track had a very kind of old schooly kind of feel to it. There being a separate sub was very nice. That was kind of cool. And some people in the chat telling me that, or saying that the sub needed to have more attack and more compression. That's a weird thing to say about a sine wave, given that it's already compressed. Okay, you have to consider what compression does. It reduces dynamic range, right? A sine wave, it's a pure tone, no volume change, whatever. It doesn't have dynamic range. The only dynamic range it has is the oscillation from positive to negative to create the waveform. So compressing it will do literally nothing. Unless you compress it so fast as to distort it, and then you have a distorted sine wave. And you have a square wave, and that's not necessarily valuable in its effort to be a sub. You compress your sine waves to be louder. It just makes it louder. It's because it turns it up. It's really the same thing as just turning up your sine wave. It doesn't actually require compression to do that. What else? So an attack and a sine wave. I mean, it does just kind of turn on when you tell it to turn on, so the attack is instantaneous, but what you're probably thinking is that it needs to have some kind of impact, some kind of that kind of thing. And like, if you really wanted to do that, then you kind of have to treat it like a kick drum where you have a pitch fall right at the beginning. And you could do that, and like people have, but like that's not something I do myself. I'm doing subs. What else? The melodic components were definitely very out there. It wasn't bad. There wasn't really anything in this track that was bad. It was just weird. And like, weird is good. Weird is fine. Weird is all about, weird is your style. And mitigating that is really just opinions and has nothing to do really with whether or not it's objectively worthwhile to change. I like the basses. I like the sort of design. And a lot of people will probably tell you that this track is very repetitive and very boring, but I am familiar with the genres that it's inspired by, and this is a pretty par for the course. So good job on that. Zayler here just said, I don't like quiet pre-masters. There's a difference between a pre-master and something that's a minus 12 dB. Something that's so quiet that if a mastering engineer did try to actually increase the noise for it, would ruin the song. So, and that was already revealed to be a rendering error. Okay, let's find that track. A song about killer bananas. This appears to be actually a pre-master. I like this demo drop website. It's pretty much like exactly what I needed to do what I wanted to do. Mono piano is mono. Very 80s. It's probably not gonna be, but it could be. Ooh, that snare. All right, so there's a lot of things with this track, but the thing that gets me the most is how mono that piano is. The mono piano and mono reverb. Like, weird. So also the biggest issue I think with this is that there's this little distinction between the elements that aren't the drop and elements that are the drop. The drop doesn't really drop. It just kind of lurches into being, and then it just continues being a song. It's not wholly an issue, obviously, because there are songs that don't really have drops, so that's okay. But the thing is that it seems like you're trying to make it a drop because you have the whole build up thing, you have that whole like boo 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 synth going on, the puppy step thing, and you're like, so it leads me to believe that you actually want there to be a drop, and there's not enough distinction between the drops and not drops, especially because the certain elements kind of just continue forever, like that piano, like what particular synths and like the effects and the things are the same in the not drops as they are in the drops the entire time. So it makes the song all very homogeneous, and it's like, you know, like ideal. The snare also felt super ultra dull, and it had no snap at all. Kind of felt like I don't know, this just wasn't a very good example. I was trying to think of an appropriate silly thing that it could possibly sound like, but I couldn't think of anything fast enough. So you just get me telling you it's not very good. Sorry. I am less willing to call things boring than I once might have been, just because there are a lot of genres of music that the entire genres that I think are boring that apparently people who listen to it think are awesome. So the fact that I think it's boring does not particularly mean much. That's that song. Let's listen to track 256, 993818211212. Well, it crashed. I was going to say, you can just see how top heavy this is. Look at that. Let's try it again, though. Hold on. I broke demo drop. Let's see. There we go. Suddenly strings. So this track, I think, would actually, like, the biggest problem this track has is the drums. The drums are doing cool things, but they just sound really dumb. The kick and the snare especially are not particularly fun to listen to. Spam chat. The hat pattern is interesting at points, but it's also very, like, piercingly high frequency, along with a lot of other things in this track. Is kind of a primary mix issue that this track has. Also, the concept of the separate sub, like, there is bass in the main bass, but then when, like, the rhythmic basses come in, there's no sub at all, and there needs to be constant sub under every sound that happens during a drop, every single time, forever. Like, listen to pretty much anything. Like, I feel a lot of the decisions that you made to make this track were based on your memory of the genre that you're influenced by to make this track. And I think what you should do is you should listen to the tracks that influence you very carefully, and not in, like, the music. Listen to it, like, analytically listen to it, and try and identify not just how they sound, how they feel, and how the basses are distributed, whatever, but also, like, arrangement wise. Because the other problem this track had was kind of like the one before, where there wasn't a huge amount of distinction between the drops and the not drops. This one did a little bit better than the other one, but this one's problem was that the not drop section, like the intro, the breakdowns, the intermediary bits, were just as hard as the drop. And this track, that just meant that this track was full force, very busy, very like on, like, the whole time. And that can get very fatiguing, especially if it's extremely high frequency, just all the time, forever kind of deal. That's just sort of my observation how that works out. What else? So the drums are weird, fix those. The mix is weird, fix that. I mean, the arrangement as in terms of the largeness, like the melody and the progression and all that, those were pretty okay. That was fine. That was all right. But, like, how long sections are, when the rise begins, like, what's in the rise, how to distinguish the sections, that kind of thing. Like, those are the problems that you should focus on. More tracks. A tattoo, but I'm not gonna play that. A track called Skylight. I think I played this once already. Well, if I did, I don't remember it. I think I did play this one before. I kind of remember that happening. right, so there was a sub on a lot of the sounds, but on the gnarlier bases, there wasn't really a well-defined sub. And on some of the more effecty ones that kind of went around, the sub sort of went away. And some of the times it's okay for the sub not to be there for those particular sounds. Like I know you like to do the whole high pass, low pass thing a lot. That's fine. But I felt like there could have been a sub for a lot more than there was. This track is very good. Like, it's very on point. It's very, like, obvious influences are obvious, and you're doing a good job with them. I feel like there's overall too much background effects, too much reverb on the lead, especially. Like, I'm not suggesting that you sidechain the lead, but you could sidechain the lead's reverb just because it gets over all the stuff way too much, and it kind of detracts from the neato sound design. The halftime or the double time section didn't make a huge amount of sense to me. It could have made sense, like you can do that, but I don't think the same patterns as the halftime part work very well in double time. So that's sort of what I feel about that deal. There's some minor little mixing niggles, like the snare feels way too doofy overall. Like it needs to be a little bit doofy, but it felt like too doofy. And it might be fixed by just raising the pitch just a little bit, or at least EQing out some of the lower mids. Like high pass that a bit, because whatever the fundamental is, there shouldn't be stuff happening below the fundamental, even if there were in the original sample. What else? The lead was cool, but might have been a little too loud. Being almost a pure sine wave with some higher harmonics, like all four of them. Like it's not ultra necessary for it to be as loud as it is, just because it doesn't need to be that loud. Pure tones pierce through things like the mix and the air so much easier than more complicated sounds, which means that they don't need to be as loud to be heard as loud, and that kind of thing. There was a lot going on in the intro, like just so many, just like effects and sounds, and also the breakdown, same thing. And that hat that came in, I don't know why, but I just hate the shit out of it. Like in the breakdown, the pattern is fine, like the mix was fine. I just don't like the sound of it. I'm not 100% sure why. What else? Largely it was fine. It felt, reference some stuff. Like listen to, your influences when you're making this track, and kind of compare sort of the profile of it with yours, just because yours felt just like a little bit like a not as good a balance, and like in very, very minute, very subtle ways. Like it's not necessarily that it's like, oh, it's awful, blah, blah, blah. Like it's just very tiny changes that we need to be making to make it work out pretty well. But yeah. So cool. Good job. Could find another one. Refresh. This track is called Animals 2.0, and I absolutely am not going to play that. Here, Neurofunk Attempt. I like that. snare mix got all weird in the end there. So the drums were nice and punchy. I like that. I like the bass presence. The basses themselves, I can kind of see where you were going with it, and just we work a little bit more on the sound design. Honestly, you can probably do something pretty neat. The middle bits were good. Like the arrangement, like the arrangement of the sounds themselves, and like the actual rhythm was nice. High frequencies could have been a little bit more present in the mix on some of the sounds, and much like everyone else, especially I'm gathering that this is something you do very often, and if it's not, then I would recommend that you listen to examples of the genre more, just to sort of to kind of get in your head how they tend to use the sounds, because making the sounds is one whole big thing, which is a large portion of making this work, but utilizing them is a whole other bag. Matt Sparrow, Demolish Whip. Oh, there's the harp. That was interesting. It's kind of like a mashup of my track Resolve and my track Codename Hurricane, which I'm okay with. That actually could have been pretty awesome, not just because it's based on, or at least possibly based on my songs. The big thing holding this back is the fact that the drums just have no presence at all. And I feel like this is born of, we've had this discussion kind of a lot in the idea of masters or pre-masters, and it's born of the idea that if you do a pre-master mix with the actual intention of what... You're forgetting that's there. The actual intention of, doing like, a nice, balance your mix before you get a master and that kind of thing. And like, if you do that, what's going to end up happening is that you're going to mix your drums pretty well together, which means they're going to be in the mix too much. When you compress it together for the actual master, it's not going to be present enough. The drums need to be unimaginably louder than everything else in a big way in your pre-master. And if you did that, like, there are certain, like, also like the basses, all of them are distorted, every single one of them, like way hard. And at first I was kind of like, but like during some of the later bits, I realized that if the drums hit harder, like way harder, like maybe 4 times harder than they do right now, that actually can mix very well. It'd be like It'd be like if Billane decided to do dubstep. That's kind of what the result would be. The lead on the second half of the drop, a la Resolve, it's way too loud. Again, it needs to just kind of be mixed in there. Like, as loud as that lead is as loud as the drums need to be. And the lead needs to be as loud as the drums are. So, there you go. And also, yeah, sidechaining. And separate steps. Let's do some more. Uh-oh. Puppy step. What's happening? All right, well, that was Puppy Step. This one was a little bit better. Had a sub. I like subs. So let's take a break for a second, and I'm gonna run. It occurred to me to run some of my older music through the analyzers here and see what they look like in comparison. I think that'd be fun. Let's see. I'm gonna run. No. I wonder where Dreams of Bass is. That'd be kind of funny. Actually, where's I Accidentally this entire track? This was made entirely with massive presets. When did I make this? This would be 5 years ago, I think. 5 or 6 years ago. I put an LFO on the bass and then I automated the speed. I think I put glitch on every single channel on this track. This track is begin and end. Indeed. So that's what I made 6 years ago, 5 years ago. It's very quiet. I didn't know how to master back then. All right, demo dorp. Drum and bass whip. I like drum and bass. Cool. So the arrangement is nice. The melody is nice. The vocals fit good. It's a nice beat. Everything about it is pretty much nice, except for the fact that there's no bass. Not either the kind of mid-rangey stuff that I like, or I have a sub. There needs to be a sub. There needs to be a sub. That kind of thing. It's only my only primary complaint about that. Like, it just needs to have some sort of, like, there needs to be some kind of sub. Really? It. Other than that, good job. Bantersaurus wrecked. Let's do that. Ah, detention. DJ intro. good this pulled up. I've heard that in a while. I think literally everything is in a different key. And we're done. Okay, well, there's no sub. There's no real low end. The mix wasn't very punchy. I don't like the genre. Everything was out of key. And a lot of stuff was also out of beat. I feel like a lot of that were samples that were not even really tried to be put together. Can't really speak to that beyond much else. Let's listen to a Detention song. Detention is happy. cool. I liked the bass sound design and I liked the beat, but like a lot of this stuff definitely didn't really belong to each other. Like the vocals that fast worked okay, but like the vibrato felt really weird going that fast. And like there's ways you can control that, you know, with some pitch correction, that kind of thing. But I don't know. That's more or less a stylistic choice, in opinion, really. The bass didn't sound like it really went with anything. It's the kind of neuro-y bass that doesn't really have the defined pitch, and I understand that. But that's this is a very melodic song, so that sort of stuff needs to be more together. The sub could have been a little bit more solid than it was. It was there. It was okay, but like it wasn't super solid subness, which is what I want to hear. In order to make mixes nice, but that business, that sort of thing. Someone just asked me, they've been waiting for 2 hours, and I'm not playing tracks sequentially, like as I get them. I'm just kind of picking and choosing. Because I've received, there's a lot of tracks. I have 50 tracks right now that I haven't listened to. So I'm just picking things as I see them. Do 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 do. 100 BPM actionary in some basses, lol. It's all one word. much sub. So much. Look at it. I was just thinking that was a massive preset. I'm okay with that being a massive preset. It was used pretty good. I like that. It's a whip, obviously, so that's whatever. You know, there's not your arrangement leaves some room to be desired. But I feel it was kind of weird when you had sub like in like your intro. That seems kind of strange. Like usually speaking, when I am putting sub in things, I only really put sub during bits after the first drop, because it's like you want there to be something like a lots of force happening when the first drop happens. Easy way to do that is to not have a whole huge amount of bass in the intro, and then when it does hit, it's very impactful, that kind of thing. It's sort of just dynamic range how that works. The beat is cool. I like the glitchiness of it, and I like the sort of the roll. I like that. and the sound choice was nice. Could work out. Finish it. Finish it. Cool. So we've got about 10 minutes left, and instead of playing on the track, I'm going to actually talk about some plans I have for the future. So this demo drop thing is actually really cool. I dig it. I'm going to use this for future track review days. I was for some reason I have yet to actually settle on like an actual schedule for streaming, other than that I am going to stream at like 10 a.m. to noon and then 8 p.m. to 10. Like that's like my schedule, but I don't know what shows I'm going to do on one particular day. And for some reason I was deciding that I was going to have I wasn't going to do the same show twice. And I realized, like in the same day, and I realized that actually I could do the same. I could do viewer track, like a viewer track day, or I do in the morning and in the evening viewer track reviews. Like that's something that wouldn't really be bad if I did that. So I'm going to utilize demo drop for that, but I'm also going to, now that I've got DJ set up, I'm going to, sort of do, I want to do like, I don't know if I don't do weekly or monthly or whenever. I want to do like live sets. I think I can do weekly. Live sets of your guys' music, like the viewers' tracks and that kind of thing. And yeah. So the plan, like the desire that I have for this is that I want to make a set that I can record that won't get muted and it won't get hit by Content ID. So this means a couple of requirements as far as you guys go. It means that I gotta come up with some kind of release form for you to sign or whatever. That's fine. It's just saying that you give me permission to use my song and I play it in a mix and it's fine. That's good. But it also means no remixes. Like for example, that remix of illegal Goulding, whatever, the Burn track. That probably wouldn't fly because that probably would get hit by Content ID, and that's unfortunate. Because I really don't want to get hit with 30 Content ID hits on a video. I have to dispute all of them for 10 years. Yeah, but I'll probably still use demo drop for that kind of thing. But the thing is, though, when you give me tracks, and I guess I need to like figure out this way to notify people on the system itself. It should be named properly. It should be titled, even if it's a whip. It should be titled. Be titled your name dash the song's name. And that's usually enough. It's usually fine. It doesn't need to be called original mix. Doesn't need to be called remix. Doesn't need to be called anything. And just primarily because I'm not going to do remixes. Like, anyway, there's some system I have to figure out how the rules work for that kind of thing. Demo drop is dis. Other cool ideas, other cool plans. Actually, I guess I can't really talk about any of them just yet. But I was discussing some stuff with Kush the other day. And we came up with some really cool stuff for the future that will be really neat. And I'm also formulating plans for more sub perks, people who subscribe to the Twitch channel. Basically for things like mixes and track reviews and stuff like that, it means that you're gonna get preferential treatment. It's really up there is to that. However, at the end of the day, what tracks I choose to review and what tracks I choose to put in a mix, especially what tracks I decide to put in a mix, are going to be 100% up to my discretion. So even if you are a sub, if you give me something that's absolute shit, unless it's hilarious, I'm not going to put it in the mix. So like, just be aware of that. There was also some other things I wanted to do, like try and get like on the screen so people can see people talking and that kind of thing. But there's some plug-in stuff I have to wrangle around with to get that to work out. Also, sort of a weird idea. Weird to me, but apparently this is very common in other kinds of learning environments. But what was I gonna say? Like the Kush suggested that I ask my lessons, people who do my lessons, if they would be okay with me streaming the lessons live. And I'm okay with that, but I guess it's primarily up to the guy who wants to have lessons. Like, apparently in the pro gaming world, people do lessons. They actually do the same thing. They have pros like come in and teach them stuff, and while they're teaching them stuff, they also like stream them on their Twitch page. And I guess it's a big like marketing thing, a big opportunity for that kind of thing. And like, it's I can see that kind of working for the gaming thing, but even for the gaming thing, like if I were a student, I wouldn't want to advertise exactly how much of a noob I was. But I mean, if you guys as students are fine with that, then I am too, because I don't really care. That kind of thing. So if people, that's like, I mean, I don't know, just put that little bug in your ear about an idea, but that you could have if you want to have a lesson and also have it live streamed. It would be streamed during the lesson time. Like it wouldn't be on the mainstream. Mainstream. It wouldn't be on the 8 to 10 p.m. or the 10 to noon streams. It would be on like the lessons hours that I do, which are 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m., and 5 p.m. EST. Why pay when it's being streamed? Well, you're paying to be on the stream for one. You're paying to have the lessons for you. Like it's not super valuable. I mean, it could be valuable for people who are watching it, because if the people who are doing lessons ask the questions that they're going to ask, then they can learn too. And like, I mean, the whole reason why I started doing private lessons at all are specifically because I probably already have the information that they're asking about in a video format, but they're not the kinds of people who learn well passively with like video content or tutorial content, that kind of thing. And they need one-on-one like training to really get the concepts down. And that's primarily what the primary, like, you know, the one-on-one lessons are for. And to that end, it doesn't matter how much, you know, free online stuff are available. People who are going to want that are always going to want that. So anyway, can I put this on YouTube? Well, I didn't record today's, but I guess I could, because since it's gonna end up on Twitch anyway, and I could put it up on YouTube. I don't see why not. I always want to have videos, you know, so that's cool. Your how to base videos only show what you have done, not how to do it. That's like precisely what the videos are for, to show how I do it. I don't do things from scratch, but that's primarily because if I did, it wouldn't sound the same, because they are very complicated sounds. Unless they aren't very complicated sounds. And then sometimes I will do from scratch. Yeah. So, the live mix thing. You can send finished, completed tracks, but like have all of the information in it, like on like your MP3 ID3 tags, and only submit MP3s as well. If I want more than MP3s from you, I'll talk to you directly. But, you know, title it right with the name and the artist name and the track name. And then in the ID3 tags have tempo, key, I don't even know what else. That's actually probably the most important thing right there, tempo and key. And I guess, you know, if you have like a sound, like what your SoundCloud is and like website names or whatever, you could put that in the ID3 tags as well. That kind of comment and stuff. Yeah, so this stream is about done. It's about time for me to go have lunch. I'm gonna go do that, and I'll be streaming again tonight. And I think tonight, I'll do. I don't know what I'm gonna do tonight. I did just say that I could do track reviews again, and then like if I'm a little hesitant to do. I guess that's one of the reasons why. I mean, I don't really want to spam YouTube, but I guess I will. I mean, whatever. Yeah. So I'm gonna go do lunch and stuff. And I guess this I'll cut up this video to put it, like, I'll make a highlight and I'll put it up on YouTube, and so you can relive the fun of listening to tracks that aren't yours, unless they are yours. And if you have any questions about any of this, let me know. And as usual, have a nice day.